Hola, welcome to your first narrated PowerPoint. This is going to cover two lecciones because they're both pretty short. Lección preliminar uno and lección preliminar dos. But this recording will be split up into pieces, but it all comes from one main source, PowerPoint. The first lección preliminar is coming from pages 7 through 12 in the PDF pages in the lesson content, and then the second lección preliminar is from 17 to 24. It's mostly going to cover the grammar. So the idea here is that I can kind of walk you through the explanation instead of you just looking at the PowerPoints by yourself. So even though it doesn't seem like a lot of objectives, there's quite some information because this is really setting the foundation for what we're going to learn in future lessons, lecciones as we call them. So what are we going to do in this, two of them? We're going to memorize expressions of greetings and farewells, spell names. For that, we have to learn the alphabet, express days and months so that we'll be able to use the date, and also express days and months. Okay. Lastly, we're going to use subject pronouns and the verb said to state who people are, so we can use this verb to identify, and where they are from. Okay, so just to get us going, let's start with the alphabet. We can call it el alfabeto o el abecedario, like ABC, abecedario. I'm going to go over each letter so you'll hear the sound it makes, but then we're going to hear the name of it. I'll give you a quick example. This sound is H, like an H, but the name is Jota. Okay, so actually reverse. I'm going to go over the name first. And then give you some info on the sounds. Okay, so just to go through and try to say it after me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Some, as you can see, have alternate names. B can be referred to as B or B grande. E can just be E sometimes, rarely, but sometimes called E latina. A V can be called B. To contrast B grande with B chica, we're saying the big B or the little b, because both sounds go B, B, B. So if you call it V, then you don't have that problem. Well, it depends. Is this a double V or a double U? Right? So it's W or W. And a newer name is Y. Instead of Y, it's calling it Y. Now, just a little bit on sounds. You're going to learn sounds throughout the whole entire course. But this can kind of help orient you. I'll give you a quick example. The letter H is called H, but the sound is always silent, like in hola or hasta mañana. There's an H there, but you cannot hear it. The J sounds like an H, Jota. So in names like Jose or Juan. There's a difference between N and Ñ. Ñ has the little squiggly line on top. That's in words like niño. It sounds like an NY. And mañana, mañana. Some sounds you think they're just like English, but they're quite different. Like te, it's not, it's te, which kind of sounds like de. Very close to one another. Also, close sounds would be be y pe, be, be. The way you can improve in your pronunciation, in your audio comprehension, is to really listen. Guys, I cannot emphasize enough, you have to listen to the ebook over and over or else these sounds will not stick. The good news about vowels, there's only one sound for each vowel. A, E, I, O, U. Doesn't matter where it's placed, it's always A, E, I, O, U. Try it. A, E, I, O, U. So just to practice a little bit of spelling, for example, ¿cómo se escribe tu nombre? ¿Cómo se escribe tu apellido? So I'll do mine. Mi nombre se escribe. First, mi nombre es Lisette. Se escribe L, I, S, S, E, T, T, E. Mi apellido es Hernandez. How do you spell Hernandez? In English, we say Hernandez. H, E, R, N, A, N, D, E, Z. Así se escribe mi nombre. So try to spell out your name for practice. Los días. So this really has to do with just useful vocabulary in reference to days. Los días, los meses, el año, la semana, el fin de semana, hoy, mañana, y ayer. Make sure you're learning these phrases because they're going to repeat throughout several activities and the course, really. Sticking with the concept of días, los días de la semana. We start the week in Spanish-speaking calendars with Monday, which makes the weekend a true weekend. Lunes. Try to say it after me. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. In Spanish, we do not capitalize the day of the week or month either. Sábado y domingo together make el fin de semana. I wanted to give you some info. So even though you see the articles hanging out in front of the days of the week, you do not need the article el when using days with the verb ser. So for example, if you're going to make a sentence, hoy es miércoles, you don't need el. Mañana es jueves, you don't need the article el. The way you do use it, if you're going to use a placeholder of on, like I work on Monday, I can say trabajo el lunes. But if I want to also make my day plural, instead of el, I'm going to use los. Trabajo los lunes y los miércoles. But lunes all the way through viernes do not have a plural. Only the article can turn plural. Now, sábado y domingo, because they end with O's, work quite differently. You can make those plural. So you can say, for example, los sábados no trabajo. I don't work on Saturdays. No trabajo los sábados. Either order works. Los domingos voy a la iglesia. On Sundays, I go to church. You can reverse the order. Voy a la iglesia los domingos. Again, you can make los and domingos plural because those 2 days end with O. Let's look at a month. For example, junio. Remember we said we start the week with lunes? Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. So just a recap. For example, 7 días, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 días son una semana. When we say día, we're not saying date, we're saying day. Por ejemplo, sábado es un día. And mes, we're going to see all the months very soon, but un mes es junio, for example. Again, hoy, let's pretend. Hoy es jueves, if we look at the week expanded. Let's see a little bit of interaction below. Hoy es jueves. ¿Qué día es mañana? Can you tell me qué día es mañana? Viernes, sí. Mañana es viernes. Y ayer fue miércoles. We don't learn the word fue because it's past tense, but we can just say ayer and associate it with miércoles if indeed hoy es jueves. So let's look at all the months. Now we're looking at fecha. Fecha y los cumpleaños. So dates and birthdays. Before we do, let's review each month. The good news is that the months are mostly cognates. So you can kind of look at them and know what they mean. But let's work on pronouncing these. So please try to say them after I do. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? So we're going to learn how to answer the question, when is your birthday? In a more medical context, it would be, ¿cuál es tu fecha de nacimiento? So you need to learn the word fecha for date and nacimiento for birth. I'll give you an example. Mi cumpleaños es el 12 de noviembre. Right over here, el 12 de noviembre. And the formula for date is use es, el before your number, and de before your mes. So let's do a few practice. Can you tell me what May 9th would be in Spanish? Es el 9 de mayo. Let's practice with September 18th. Es el 18 de septiembre. And if you want, again, you can add the phrase mi cumpleaños es in front of it. We'll take a quick look at nouns and articles. So it's a quite simple system compared to some languages, but compared to English, it could be a little complicated because in Spanish, nouns are classified as either masculine or feminine, something we do not do. And in Spanish, articles will come to us with, nouns will come to us with an article. The article will be el or la for singular, and that'll tell you if the noun is masculine or feminine. So for example, nouns that refer to a male will be masculine, like el estudiante, el doctor. If it refers to a female, they'll be feminine, la estudiante, la doctora. Most O-ending nouns are masculine, like el libro, el bolígrafo. And most A-ending nouns are feminine, like la mesa, la pizarra. So these are some classroom objects. Most nouns that end in a consonant, again, most, not all, will be masculine, like el papel, el reloj. But if you want to talk about consonants, we'd have to remove the N opción, and most D-ending nouns are feminine. So words that end in ción are always feminine. Look at that. That's the first time we see all. La información, for example. La universidad would be feminine also. Of course, there are exceptions. We're going to learn so many as we study Spanish. But some exceptions, look, problema ends with an A and it's el. Dia and mapa also, and they're masculine. There's a lot more here. A lot of these exceptions that are masculine with A endings. Exceptions to the O ending, it's really minimal. You'll have la radio and la mano. But guess what, guys? Not all consonants are masculine, and there's really no rule for E ending. So they can be masculine or feminine. You can have words like la clase, la tarde, but then masculine, el arte, el pupitre, and then some depend on the gender of the person. Like estudiante, is it a male student? El estudiante. A female student? La estudiante. So definitely study this chart. We're going to be doing practice with nouns, articles, adjectives throughout the first 2 lessons at least. But this is key in understanding how to make adjectives match nouns. You have to first start